One of the first things we need to figure out when it comes down to filing a 1099 is who must file a 1099. And as you can see here, there are a number of different types of 1099s that need to be filed. So I'm going to start off by just going through in the general rules around who you must file a 1099 for. So let's just kind of go through the list. So what I did is we're looking at some of the general rules now. There may be some specifics that may vary or some exceptions to the general rule, but there's a good idea. And I typed this into Chat GPT and I'll go kind of step by step. And if there's anything in here I need to clarify, I'll speak to that. So first one is really what you want to think about as a 1099 is anyone that you have paid $600 or more to in a given year that has provided a service, or they were an independent contractor, or they were a vendor that has provided a service to your company. Now, when it comes down to royalties, royalties are slightly different. Royalties, they are actually less than that $600 threshold. Royalties are much lower. So if you paid royalty payments to anyone, then you would need to file a 1099 for them. So let's look at some general rules around who gets a 1099. So independent contractors or freelancers, these are people who are not employees of your company that you have paid for a service from, let's say cleaning services, or you paid someone to come and do maintenance on a copier, or you paid someone to, do the landscaping at your facility, or you paid someone to paint and do maintenance work, or you paid someone for marketing services, or you paid an accountant to file your tax returns, or you paid a bookkeeper to do the bookkeeping. Like anyone you've paid a more than $600 to provide a service for your business, they're usually going to fall into that category. Also, your rent payments. Rent is also going to be one where we need to file a 1099 for as well. And then royalties, as we mentioned earlier, what the threshold were. Let's say if you're a franchise company and you pay royalties to the big franchisor, or let's say if you're reselling, let's say someone's copyright material, you're reselling training programs and you need to pay royalty fees back to the original creator, those types of things will be involved. And then also prizes and awards. Prizes and awards are going to be one that you definitely want to make sure that you are filing a 1099 for them as well. You also want to do payments to attorneys. So if you are making any payments to other attorneys, then you want to make sure that you are filing a 1099 if it meets that threshold for your attorneys. Now, one of the things that you do want to keep in mind is, some of the pays, like if you're an individual doing this, if you're a business doing this, typically you need to file these 1099s. Now, the exceptions is what I really want to focus on a little bit more. Now, there are a couple of exceptions, and these can get a little confusing, so I'll clarify these. So when it comes down to filing a 1099, if the person that you paid is a C corporation or an S corporation, then you would not be required to file a 1099 for them. And now the exception to that, I guess you'd say the exception to the exception is this exception does not apply if it is medical, if it is legal, or it is for attorneys. So for medical, legal, attorney services, even if they are an S corp or a C corp, you still have to file a 1099. Now, the other one is going to be when you've used a credit card or you use a third-party platform to actually pay them. So let's say, for example, if you use PayPal, or you use Stripe to make a payment, or if you're a law firm and you've used some other third-party, merchant processor or credit card company to make this payment to those third parties, then what will happen is that company, like PayPal, Stripe, that company will be responsible for filing the 1099 and not you. So that would be an exception where you don't have to file it. Then the other one is is for goods and services. Now, this is where things like maintenance contracts become pretty important and pretty interesting, because let's say, for example, if you paid someone to come in and repair something in your office, but within that repair, let's say the total repair was $1,000, but let's say $500 of that was for the actual material, which means the other 500 was for the actual service. Well, based on that, it doesn't meet the threshold. So it isn't a requirement for you to file a 1099 because it doesn't meet the dollar amount. Because what you want to do is you want to exclude any portion of the payment that is related to a good that you receive or a tangible good. If you take that out, does it still exceed the $600? And then the last one is that when it comes down to employees do not get 1099. So if they are an employee that you have paid via payroll, meaning the wages are going to be included on their W-2, then you do not need to issue a 1099. Now, if you have some employees that you have paid and you did not include it on their W-2, then the portion that you did not include with their W-2, now that may need to be filed with you may need to file a 1099 for that section. Now, the big thing that a lot of people have questions on is like, how do I sort this? How do I know what the exceptions apply or whatever? And what I would say to that is what you really want to do is first, you want to get people to fill out what you would call a W-9. So I'm going to show you what a W-9 looks like, and I'm going to put it on full screen so you can see the whole thing. So when it comes down to a W-9, so the way these W-9 works is whenever you're going to have someone provide a service, what I would recommend is before you pay them their money, what you want them to do is you want them to fill out a W-9, because what the W-9 is going to do is it's going to give you all of the necessary information that you need to be able to file the 1099 at the end of the year or in January. So you're not running around trying to, get this stuff at the last minute. And on it, they're going to fill out their name, their business name. They're also going to tell you, this is how you'll know whether they're a C Corp or an S Corp. They're also going to fill out like their address information. And they're going to fill, if they're an individual, they're going to provide their social security number. If they're a business, they're going to provide their employee identification or employer identification number or their EIN. And this is how you'll get a lot of the information that you need to understand, like, okay, do they meet the exceptions of the rule? But what you want to do is make sure that you understand all of these rules and you have these guidance. But if you need further help, work with an accountant who can help you understand these things and help you navigate, how to actually determine who I need to file a 1099 for. Thanks for tuning into the Law Firm and Finance content. If you're looking for better finance strategies for your law firm, follow us on all social medias where you can get great tips and advice, or email us at contact@TLTurnerGroup and visit our website, tlturnergroup.com, to find out more ways that we can help you.